another video. So today we've got something a little different. I've not really made any progress on the Anglo-Paris side wheel mower, but I've had this lovely machine here, which we'll talk about, come in, and the owner has asked me to sharpen it up and give it a service. I've already had it a couple of weeks, or a bit more possibly, and I do need to get on with it. So I thought it's such a worthy mower of a video. It's obviously a Ransomes, as you can probably see, and this is a Certes, a Ransom Certes Mark 8. So these particular mowers are designed for golf greens, cricket wickets, bowling clubs. It's a fine turf mower. So this is obviously designed for cutting very low and very accurately. So it's a professional mower, and needless to say, it's built in the professional manner. So we're going to hopefully take some of this apart and have a look at it. But it really is beautifully made, precision made. Ransomes has made some fantastic mowers over the years, and all of their stuff, generally speaking, is really well made. But the Certes is a professional machine. As I say, it's meant for professional use, and obviously being a 10-bladed machine, you can achieve a really, really good close cut with this machine when it's in good order. So this one, as I say, it needs a service and sharpen. We're going to go through it, see what bits that we need. Luckily the owner supplied me with a new bottom blade, so that's going to help a lot. And obviously we need to regrind it and replace any bits needed. So I'm going to zoom you in, and then we're going to have a look at this machine in more detail. So I think the thing to do is we're going to push it back a bit, and we'll prop you on the bench. You can see we've got the handlebars all wrapped up. It was obviously posted to me. Go back just a little bit more. Let's stop it rolling off the bench. So there we are. Yeah, so this one, it's a 16-inch cut. Ransomes did the Certes in, I think it was about 2 different sizes. Certainly a 14 and a 16. So we'll just have a quick look round it whilst we're here. So we'll find the lovely brass plaque on the side. Let's have a look. So I think you can probably see it. Certes Mark 8. And then we've got our lovely 10-bladed cutting cylinder. And if we look at it a bit closer, we can see we've got a bit of meat left on that cylinder, so we can sharpen that. So that's the cutting cylinder. And it has a steel front roller, which has got, I'm pretty sure it's bearings in it, not bushes. And then you've got, being a fine turf mower, you've got this very, very fine precision height of cut knob. So you can probably see you've got directional arrows depending on whether you want to cut lower or higher. But you should be able to set this machine precisely to cut extremely low, so it really will shave the grass if you want it to, as needed to on some of these fine turf. So let's go have a look at the rest of it. We've got our 2-piece roller in there, and that will be supported probably bearings, and it might have bearings or bushes inside, I'm not quite sure. As I say, I feel I should, but I have never actually taken apart one of these Ransomes Mark 8, these later ones. So it's a little bit new to me, but I do know they are extremely well made. They're quite sought after. Well, they're very sought after. If you had a nice bit of grass and you wanted to maintain it well, this would probably be the mower for you. One thing that I can see we are missing, we're missing the thrower plate, which isn't a big deal, but you can probably see it's a bit of metal that goes between the rear roller and the cutting cylinder, concave shaped, which will throw the grass into the box, which we don't have. I believe it does have one, but that wouldn't be a problem. It's only a bit of sort of steel, bent steel. So that's the only thing that's missing. The handles, as you can see, are still wrapped up. We'll leave those well alone. The handles have got, I think, awaiting a new handle that goes across the top, a wooden one, which will finish it off nicely. I'm not going to unpack those. I don't think I need to. So yes, it's in some ways a little bit like the Ajax. We've got alloy sides, cast alloy sides. The rollers are actually cast alloy, unlike the Ajax, cast iron, but there's still a lot of metal in there and no plastic. So I think we're going to have a look at it. We're going to assess this mower and then see what we do actually need to put this in good mechanical order and sharpen it. So one of the first things I think we need to just look at is probably the cutting cylinder bearings, because that's going to deter whether this can be in situ sharpened, in situ ground, or whether we need to take the cutting cylinder out. I have had a quick look and I know what it is, but what we're going to do, we're just going to have a look. It rotates quite freely, but I think the right hand side's not too bad. And I'm not too worried about the sort of end float, but the up and down, but certainly the left hand side, you can probably hear it in a minute if I stop talking. So we've got quite a lot of movement on that bearing that side. So it's almost certainly going to need a bearing there. Be wise, and we will do, we'll replace the bearing the other side, silly not to. So we know the cutting cylinder's got to come out. Front roller, we'll just have a quick look at that. That's an old bottom blade off something else there. So we've got a bit of end float. There's a tiny bit of up and down on the front roller, but it's not too bad. So we're going to have a look at the rear rollers. Get you in a bit. You can see there. So firstly, we're just going to make sure they work okay, which is quite important. So obviously as we push forward, it should drive the cutting cylinder, and if we go backwards, it should freewheel, which it is. It sounds a bit dry. So this side's working, the left-hand side. Let's have a look at the right-hand side. I'm going to disappear around there a bit easier. So let's just lift it up. So if we push forward, so that's turning nicely, and it freewheels. So they're working fine. The other thing, a bit like the cutting cylinder, we're just going to see what the bearings are like. Oh yeah, no, so you can probably see it. There's quite a lot of movement in that roller there. That side, let's have a look at the other side. Yeah, there's a lot this side as well. So I think it's fair to say that it needs stripping, and it's going to need bearings in it to make a good job of it. Obviously they're going to be Imperial. So we're going to start stripping it, and then we'll take it as we go along. So I think probably the first thing to do, let's have a look at the gears, which are in this gear case there. Let's get that spanner. unlike the Ajax, it doesn't have quite as many fasteners, so I think there might be one. Let's have a look. There's one screw there. Now I know the gears on these are steel gears, so they really are precision engineering at its finest. Be interesting to see what they're like, but probably knowing just how good these are, they're probably in good condition. So let's just take a look. There we are. So let's have a closer look. They're nicely oiled, greased, aren't they? Again, a bit like the Ajax, I'd have a look at that cylinder sprocket and see what that looks like. Whether it's gone worn and spiky, but from what I can see, it looks in good condition. So it looks like, looking at the gears, there's very little wear on the gears. I mean, it's so nicely made. I think you'd have to do an awful lot of work to wear those out. There's probably sort of oil light bushes there. So they're looking in good nick, which is good. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to start to strip it down as far as we can, and we will get it ready for getting some bearings. So I think we'll go for undoing the nut. We've got obviously a normal thread on that, and I'm not sure whether that is keyed or not. No, it's not. So it just relies on a good tight fit. I think while we're here, we'll probably undo the rear roller. This one's almost certainly going to be left-handed thread. So we're going to try and lock that somehow, and then see if we can get that gear off while we're here. Let's have a look. So that little hole there, that would be for if you wanted to backlap this machine. There's a thread in there, and originally you'd have got a little handle, and you'd sort of raise the roller off the ground, and you could backlap this machine with the right tool. That's what that little hole is really meant for. But I'm going to see if I can find a place to jam it, and hopefully undo this nut here. No, it is actually. It's normal thread, I think. It feels like it. It might be keyed or something, so let me stop it there. Yeah. like I said, I really don't know. This might be keyed on there, but I've got to be careful with the gears so I don't damage them. Just rock it a bit. There we are. There we go. Yeah. So it looks like, I don't know if you can see, but it is actually, it's got a little slot in it, so it is actually keyed. So it's probably why the nut is not left-handed. So I'm learning as I go along. That should, the intermediate gear should come off. There we go, so there's our lovely oil light bush in there. Let's just pop that back on and see what that feels like. Very small amount of wear, but nothing to worry about. So we can see the rollers running on ball bearings, and there might well be ball bearings on the inside of the roller. Could be bushes, who knows? We will find out. So let me just think. So let's just think the next port of call. I think we'll probably take the cutting cylinder clamps off first, and then whether the cylinder can come out before we take the rest of it apart. Let's have a look. I was just looking at these clamps. I don't think they're handed, so I don't think it matters which way we get it. Let's just have a look here. Good. So what we've got, we probably see there's an SR, and I think that's a 3. We've got the same on the other side. So I don't think these are handed. These are obviously the adjusters. So obviously to set your on cut, the contact between cylinder and bottom blade, loosen a lock nut, tighten it down, is just tighten the top one. And then when you've achieved it, you just nip the lock nut up. So let's get the other side off. Now it feels like we have we? We've certainly got a nut that's dropped off the bottom. I don't know whether that's usual. That's a little square-headed nut, or whether they should be threaded. Let's have a look. Whether they should be threaded or not. But there certainly feels like there is on the other side. So somehow I've got to try and jam that nut, stop it turning. Let's have a look. I can feel it there. Right. Yeah. Once I've had a look at the parts list, we'll know for sure. But I'm sort of feeling like that is correct. I'm going to see if I can get a spanner on that. That would be useful. Let's have a look. It. Right, so that's the second one. And again, I think apart from they are just round the other way, they look like they're the same part. And I can check that when I look in the parts diagram. So I'm hoping with a little bit of persuasion, this will just come out. There we are, so. There we are, it's grand. There'll be some springs somewhere. There we are. So I think probably had we not needed to touch this roller, we probably, if we were servicing it normally, we wouldn't need to go any further. We'd obviously clean and service bits as necessary, but being the fact the roller needs attention, I'm going to have to take it apart further. These are the little springs that are for the adjusters, one either side. And I've just found some more square-headed nuts. So that's obviously correct. So the next port of call is probably going to be trying to get, let's get the cutting cylinder out of the way. We'll pull those off a little bit, either with some levers or possibly a puller. Get that out of the way for the minute. So what we've got next, I think, we're probably the front roller. I'm hoping the bolts there. There's one either side. I'm hoping if we undo those two, the tie rod on the back, there's obviously a nut or a pin in there for the bearing. And underneath, we'll look at the state of that bottom blade. Oh Lord. There'll be something securing the bottom blade. There we are, a bit like the Ajax. We've got either side screws. So I think at this point we're just going to just soak some of those just to give us a bit of a chance. I think we'll just leave those just like that, just for the moment. Let's have a look in there. Prise that on. So it looks like we've got a nut in there. Let's have a look. I'm going to try and hold the axle the other end, and let's see if we can undo that. There we go, that's good. And that one's normal thread. We're obviously going to clean things up later, but we'll pop that in the cap. We know what that's all about. So, looks like we need to just probably lube those up a bit. That's the front tie bar. And we're going to have a go at these screws on the blade carrier. So let's have a look. I'll see if I can prop it up a little bit. Something to prop it up with. Oops. Right, so this is where the trouble could start. I can't see any nuts on the back of these, so I've got a feeling they probably are just straight into the aluminium. Should really be using all of my Imperial sockets, but sadly most of those are at home. Okay. You can see those bottom blade screws haven't been out for a while, so they're not going to be easy. But I think we'll probably try the old trick again with the welder. So, yeah. fairly nicely rusted. Right, all being well, that should, yep. So let's have a go at these tie rods. Right, I think what we'll do, let's flip it back over. Get the wood out of the way. So it's those two there. Goodness me. I didn't expect that. So it's just that one. So I think we're just going to, hopefully it should be looking a bit wobbly, which it is. So this is the front roller pivot, one side and the other side. So I'm hoping at this point, with a little gentle tap, should all come apart. I've got a wood rough key to remove, and hopefully at least one of the side frames should come off. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah, I find side cutters sort of sometimes can be quite good to get those wood rough keys out. Let's see if it's going to play ball. It's looking like it's quite tight on that bearing. Just make sure there's nothing else there, like a sneaky clip or something. With a spacer that's quite important. So I would say it's just a tight fit there. So I think I'm just going to have to get some tyre levers and be careful with it. Let's just put the nut back on there. Give it a gentle tap, see whether that will encourage it. Yep. So quite important little washer there. Put that with the roller, so there we are. So I can see what I've done, or what I've not done. I need to unwind the adjuster to get this roller carrier out. It does look seized, so quite okay, that's good. So hopefully if I back this right off, I can then get this out. Bring the adjuster. There we are. So we just need to get the roller out to the other side. Nearly lost that bar. That's the screw back in, and we might just be able to tap it out like that. Use our washer. So that one's really quite tight in that bearing. You can see, but it hasn't moved much, so it's obviously a tight fit. I probably need just a nice thinner punch to get in there, and I can just tap that a little bit. No, I think what's happening, I'm just pulling the shaft out the roller. So I think what we're going to do is probably wrap this video up for now. It's gone on for quite a long time. I think it's going to be worth doing a video just on the roller itself. They're not that complicated, but reasonably complicated. So I think what we'll do, we've got it all in bits, cutting cylinders out, and we've got it completely, or nearly, in bits. But as I say, the roller's fairly complicated. I think we'll do another video on the roller, stripping the roller, and then having a look at the bearings inside of it. What I will do between now and then, the tie bars, I'll start marking a few things so that when we put it back together, we're putting the right parts in the right place. Sometimes it's not always obvious, but in fact you can see on the tie bar here, let's have a look while we're there. There you go, you can see one is slightly longer than the other, so I'll mark those, and then when reassembly day comes, it's just going to make things a whole lot easier. So I will mark things, and then hopefully between now and then I'll clean things up. We'll do a video on that roller, stripping the roller, and then having a look at any worn parts in the roller. So, yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. It would be nice to go on a bit more with it, but I've got a feeling this is about an hour and it just seems to take forever and a day to load up. And yeah, I think it's another video for the roller. So we'll definitely do another one on the roller. I'm going to get the shaft out of there. I'm just going to find a smaller punch, needle type punch. I haven't got one to hand, and I think if I just tap that through, then I will get that shaft out the side frame. And as I say, the cutting cylinder, I think the bearings will come off fairly easily with some tyre levers. So anyway, there we have it. So it's a Ransom 16-inch MK8 Certes. What a beautiful thing. And like I say, there'll be another video on this, and we'll make some progress between now and then. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.